Our second speaker is Chancellor Nancy Zimpher. She's the head of the largest comprehensive university system in this country, with 64 campuses, 500,000 students, and almost 100,000 employees spread across the Empire State. Please welcome Chancellor Zimpher.
Thanks, Wallace. Thank you. Hi, everybody. To carry on that dog metaphor, you know, what does the dog do when it catches the car? Because it's bigger than big, and you got to figure out a way through it to move 64 campuses in a common direction. I'm thrilled that a number of my partners from the State University of New York are in the audience tonight, and many, many good friends. Wallace Lowe, it's a delight to be on this panel with you. Thank you. President Mitch Daniel, welcome to the club. It is an august body, and we really do hang together pretty well and help each other, and I'm very proud of that. I was on the board, Sally Mason, when we recruited Peter McPherson to this role. We were struck by Peter's focus, his action orientation, and you have not disappointed us, so it's been a thrill to work with you, Peter. Congratulations again. Thank you. And Sally, thank you for your leadership. And when you see Jean Middleton, and I'm sure most people know her, and the mighty, mighty staff here at APLU, she's the one with the headphones on, just managing this whole endeavor, and she does a terrific job. And wherever you are in the hall, Jean, for all of us, thank you very, very much for this conference and the work you do. So thank you. We have been offered the opportunity by Peter and by Wallace, and I'd like to sort of cram 40 years of engagement in higher education into 15 minutes of advice and see if I can pull it off. And I brought pictures because of the lateness of the hour. I still think Tom Friedman got it absolutely right when he opined, in a world where the biggest returns go to those who imagine and design a product, there is no higher imagination-enabling society than America. In a world where talent is the most important competitive advantage, there is no country that historically welcomed talented immigrants more than America. In a world in which the protection for the intellectual property and secure capital markets is highly prized by innovators and investors alike, there is no country safer than America. And in a world in which the returns on innovation are staggering, our government funding in bioscience is helping, new technology and clean energy gives us a great advantage. And in a world where logistics will be the source of a huge number of middle-class jobs, we have FedEx and UPS. If only, he said, if only we could come together on a national strategy to enhance and expand all our natural advantages: more immigration, more post-secondary education, better infrastructure, more government research, smart incentives for spurring millions of startups, and a long-term plan to really fix our long-term debt problems. Nobody could touch us. We're that close. We are that close to being the America that Friedman challenged us to be, and most would agree higher education, and especially public higher education, has been the driving force behind our development as a world leader. When the Industrial Revolution was sweeping the nation and the economy needed to be rebuilt, it was higher education that drove reform through the Land-Grant Act. And when we needed an advantage to win 2 world wars, higher education developed ROTC, radar, and superior military strategy. And when the economy plummeted into depression, the nation's colleges and universities lifted it up. And when Russia beat us into space, it was investment in higher education through NSF and NDEA that allowed us to retake and retain our leadership in innovation. Now, in this flat world era, it is us, higher education, that can reclaim America's competitive edge if we can just get our collective act together. No question, the contemporary challenges in the early decades of the 21st century are what headlines are made of. Steeply declining state appropriations, wavering federal investment in research, an aging physical plant, upward pressure on tuition, and alternative instructional delivery systems demanded by a new generation of digital natives. Today and repeatedly, we have heard President Obama's call for reduced college cost, increased productivity in all that we do, greater innovation, a stronger commitment to degree completion for college students and adult workers, and we agree this iron triangle of challenges must be bent in the direction of bringing down our administrative and operational costs so that more of our funds can be invested in student services, shorter time to degree, increased availability of required courses, and more focused advice on navigating offerings in residence, online, or next door. We must, in short, get down to the business of making our sector more nimble, more accessible, more transparent, and yes, more efficient. Critics condemn this efficiency mentality as an attribute of business, one not appropriate for higher learning. But Jim Collins says it best. We must reject, he says, the idea, well-intentioned but dead wrong, that the primary path to greatness in the social sector is to become more like a business. Most businesses, like most anything else in life, have a desperate need for discipline. Disciplined people who engage in disciplined thought and who take disciplined actions. A culture of discipline is not a principle of business. It is a principle of greatness. Higher education has historically embraced this principle to think and act in strictly disciplined manner. In fact, it is this way of thinking, of doing business, that should shape the land-grant university of the 21st century. But our greatest gifts to this society remain in improving the quality of life among all citizens, increasing access and the distribution of a standard of living that closes once and for all the immense poverty divide in this country, and ensuring that the best and brightest ideas get translated into a better economy and a better life for people in America and around the world. In reviewing the strategic visions posted on our collective websites, we do not lack ambition. We can see Collins's big, hairy, audacious goals peppered throughout the aspirations of every campus represented here today. We pride ourselves in not only the familiar higher ed motto, to learn, to serve, to search, but on those far-reaching promises we make to solve the world's greatest problems and to address those societal issues that ultimately distinguish a flourishing democracy from countries riddled with poverty, illiteracy, and social unrest. That is exactly the character and climate of the 1860s that undoubtedly drove Lincoln to advocate for the Morrill Act, and it characterizes even today this dilemma. If we are the most preeminent higher education system in the world, producing more knowledge and innovation and educating more of our population than institutions in other countries, sought after by parents and students from literally all around the globe, why is America still facing so many seemingly daunting and unsolvable problems? In short, what is the relationship between our magnificence and the problems of the world in which we live? One must ask, how can American higher education put its imprint on the most challenging problems of our day? Perhaps a page from SUNY's playbook would help characterize the magnitude of our collective opportunity, something I heard you say, Peter, in the video. Should APLU decide to take the lead in delivering change at scale? Imagine APLU and the seamless education pipeline. David Leonhardt said it best: more educated people are healthier, live longer, and of course make more money. Countries that educate more of their citizens tend to grow faster than similar countries that do not. Education, educating more people and educating them better is simply the best bet any society can make. And lest you think that it is not higher education's problem to solve, I remind you that we prepare the teachers who teach the students who come to our campuses underprepared for college and career. This is exactly what our completion agenda is all about for all students, and especially for more STEM students. So SUNY is launching community-based efforts to ensure a quality educational experience for every child. This pipeline effect also answers the evolving way that today's college students move through our system, enrolling in several colleges at the same time, transferring from 4 to 2 and 2 to 4, seeking digital course alternatives, so SUNY has become 100% transferable. Credits earned at any SUNY campus are now accepted everywhere within SUNY without exception. Could APLU create an alliance with existing cradle-to-career networks to seal once and for all the leaks in the education pipeline, literally across the country? Imagine APLU and strategic online enrollment. SUNY's online enrollment was created by the strategic and tactical decisions of our 64 individual campuses and has moved along with various central supports over the years and has already yielded 150 online degree programs. But our system, frankly, is outdated and lacks the full capacity to meet the needs of modern-day college students. So at the turn of the year, we will launch Open SUNY, taking every online course we offer at every SUNY campus, now upwards of 12,000 courses, and making them available to every SUNY student, anywhere, anytime, vastly meaning students won't be shut out of classes they need to graduate, speeding completion and cutting costs to students and campuses. Could APLU create universal online enrollment, literally across the country? Imagine APLU and shared services. Aided by our commitment to discipline, SUNY has redefined what it means to be efficient. Procurement contracts have started being issued for several campuses as one. Tutoring programs are now offered regionally rather than by campus, and even high-level administrative positions such as Chief Financial Officer are being shared by neighboring SUNY campuses. We also tried shared presidencies, but that was an idea not ready for its time. Still, could APLU create a national system of efficiency savings? Imagine APLU and workforce development. SUNY has partnered with state departments of labor and economic development to better align the degrees and programs we offer with the jobs and training needed in the local workforce, resulting in more of our graduates competing for more of New York's jobs. To this end, we are taking co-op and internships to scale across our system and letting employers actively shape their own workforce for the future. Data tells us that not only are a vast majority of co-op students employed immediately upon graduation, that they start at higher salaries, and they often stay to live and work in New York. So could APLU create an employment switching station that links current students and graduates to the global workforce, literally serving the nation? And could APLU connect with our research and innovation mission? Just as SUNY's massive research portfolio has solidified our partnership with Governor Andrew Cuomo, positioning our campuses to serve as innovation hubs and hotspots and incubators, much like your state, and newly formed networks of excellence, where student scientists and faculty researchers across campus and across the public-private sector co-invent new knowledge and devices. Further, Governor Cuomo's Startup New York initiative offers 10 years of tax-free development on or adjacent to our campuses to companies that bring net new jobs to New York. So could APLU create an innovation ecosystem linking our incredible public research universities in a national network of excellence? So I could stop here, calling on a more disciplined cadre of land-grant universities as we reinvent and reinvigorate our land-grant commitment. But I have to go back to that vexing societal problem about getting problems solved. Is it because we are not approaching problem solving with the same discipline required to move this country from good to great or great to premier? I think it's because we've not engaged in a strategy called collective impact. The idea that genuine change, real improvement, requires a cross-sector commitment from a passionate and dedicated group of leaders willing to set aside our individual agendas and work together to solve specific societal problems in a coordinated, national, evidence-based set of interventions. This collective impact would require our membership to look like a system in and of itself, and to embrace this notion of systemness as the whole being greater than the sum of the parts. We have lots of examples of collective impact: Massachusetts, Virginia, Shape Up Somerville, the Opportunity Chicago, the Memphis Fast Forward program, and yes, the Strive Partnership in Cincinnati that has compelled over 100 communities to replicate a framework for student success, cradle to career. So it's easy to see why public policy makers from the Congress to our capitals are interested in this concept of collective impact. But we don't really have a system of education. We have silos of various forms. As a result, 40 to 50% of the children nationwide are underprepared for kindergarten. The same students are pushed through our system, and by the time they reach college, if they make it that far, they are saddled with remedial coursework that costs all of us money and in most cases does not culminate in student success. So just as no single organization can solve these problems, we can work as a group. We can be focused on a kind of collective impact that commits us to evidence-based collective interventions. This strategy calls out for APLU as that very organization, not a membership organization, but a leadership organization that may well have the capacity to address these problems and our ability, our collective impact, to take these solutions to scale. We've done it with the VSA, we've done it with SMITI, we're doing it with the Institutional Consortium Project, and with our 500 four-year public colleges and universities pledging completion. And we will do it with big data, solving the problems that we know we can, using some kinds of mechanisms that ensure we're more efficient, that we work seamlessly across the education pipeline. So the Morrill Act was visionary legislation that filled a great American need and presents us with a great opportunity in the 21st century. I think APLU can harness the power of our memberships across systems, across state boundaries, and across infrastructure. And doesn't that just sound like what Justin Morrill and Abraham Lincoln envisioned in 1862? A perfect mission for the land-grant universities of the 21st century. If only we could come together on a national strategy to enhance and expand our natural advantages. Nobody could touch us. We're that close. Thank you.